I'm Jayanti, Assistant Professor in the School of Education and Director of CORE, the Institute for Community Outreach, Research and Education. Today I'll be talking about the NAEYC standards, the portfolio that all bachelor's students in the early childhood education program are responsible for. We're going to be talking about what those standards are, how they align with the assignments, what you needed to do in terms of requirements of uploading it to TaskStream, and what your paper would look like. When you're in the BA program with BA Early Childhood Education, one of the requirements that you look at is that you need to actually complete a portfolio. This is the capstone project that you have for your bachelor's degree, and you need this to graduate to get your diploma. So your portfolio is actually aligned to the national standards, the NAEYC standards, and what we're going to do is go through those requirements so you understand your assignment a little better. So when we think of NAEYC, which stands for the National Association for the Education of the Young Child, at the BA level, you're actually looking at what we call standards. The standards that actually, clearly explain what are the requirements in terms of quality. And we're going to go through the 10 standards that you're going to be responsible for as a student. Standard 1 to 5, if you look at an overview, it typically covers the topic of children. It focuses on the advancement of children's learning and development. Standard 1 is about relationships. Standard 2 is about curriculum. Standard 3 is about teaching. Standard 4 is about the assessment of child progress. And Standard 5 is health. Standard 6, when we look at that, this is on teachers, but here we're looking at the teacher qualifications, the teacher knowledge, the professional commitment of the program's teaching staff. So that's up to Standard 6. Now you're going to look at 7, 8, 9, and 10, which cover totally different topics. 7 and 8 deal with the family and community. These two standards focus on the relevant partnerships that the program, your early childhood program that you identify, establishes with the families and with the community. And Standard 9 and 10 focuses totally on program administration. These final two standards focus on programs, the physical environment, the leadership, the management, and all these 10 standards together comprise the NAEYC standards that you would be responsible for. So now we're going to go through it in a little detail so I can also explain the actual assignment to you. What you're going to typically do is every course that you're taking in your bachelor's, you are going to be submitting assignments into TaskStream. Those assignments are typically aligned with one of these 10 standards. So you should have 10 assignments already submitted into TaskStream, which align with the 10 NAEYC standards. But now I'm going to kind of flesh them out a little so you understand it better. Standard 1 focuses on the positive relationships among children, adults, to encourage a child's sense of worth. So what you would be looking at is look through all of your courses, all of the classes that you've taken. You've taken classes on art, on curriculum, on social emotional development of children, on the partnership that children and families have. And you're going to see which one of those assignments actually aligns with the standard. It might be the course that you take on child, family, and interrelationships. And that might be the course that you would pick an assignment from. It's usually the signature assignment. And then once you've picked this assignment to put in, what you're going to look at is you're going to try and pick a rationale. Why do I think this assignment aligns with NAEYC standards? And then you're going to actually write a reflection. What did I learn from this? So every single standard that you have, you're going to have 3 things. One is you'd have the actual assignment, which is your signature assignment. 2, you would actually have the rationale. Why did I think that this assignment would fit this? And the third thing you would have is a reflection. Why do I think this fits it? What did I learn from this? And what would I change? Perhaps it really didn't fit it. So you're going to have in total 30 things. 10 signature assignments, 1 for each standard, 10 rationale, 1 for each standard again, or 1 for each signature assignment, and 10 reflections. So when you submit your portfolio at the end of your bachelor's degree, you would typically have 10 assignments, 10 rationale, and 10 reflections. And that would be a requirement for your bachelor's. The next standard that you think about is curriculum. You're going to look at, you know, by now you would have covered everything that you know, in the bachelor's that has to do with curriculum. You'd know about the Reggio Emilia philosophy. You'd know about DAP, developmentally appropriate practices. You'd know about emergent curriculum. You'd also know how to, you know, actually plan lesson plans for children with special needs. You know how to write an IEP. So any of those signature assignments which would typically fit the program standard 2, which is curriculum, consistent with goals for children, promotes learning and development in emotional, social emotional, physical, language, and cognitive. So any of the signature assignments from those classes that I just talked about would fit into this. Teaching, this is where you're not looking at the teacher's qualifications, you're actually looking at the teaching practice. Does the program use developmentally, culturally, linguistically appropriate and effective teaching approaches? Here again, you're going to be looking at lesson plan, but you might also be doing, you know, taking a signature assignment that has maybe a field trip embedded in it, where you've observed a teacher teaching, and that would come into this assignment over here, this standard. Assessment of child progress. In many of your courses, you are required to do an actual assessment of a child. Any of those signature assignments would fit this standard. Remember, you do need to add a rationale and a reflection. Health, this standard aligns with the nutrition, health of children, protecting the children from illness and injury. You have a course that deals specifically with health and special needs. Any of the signature assignments from that course would fit this one. Here is where we're talking about teacher qualifications. You would, you know, in one of your field trips, you would actually be interviewing directors, trying to find out what are the qualifications, what's the professional commitment, do they go for conferences, what's the professional development your teachers might be taking. Any of those assignments would fit this standard here. Families, this is where you look at the interrelationship between children, families, and teachers or the administration. A lot of your courses have this one standard embedded in it. This really runs through your entire BA program. Many of your signature assignments would align with this standard. Community relationships, this is when you're looking outside of the actual preschool or your center and how the center interacts with the different community partnerships that exist. Here you're going to be looking at the physical environment. We already know what your Title 22 might say in terms of space and ratio of child to, you know, actual physical space, indoor or outdoor, but you're looking more at how well this has been set up. A couple of your assignments has you doing, you know, a field trip where you would examine the indoor and outdoor physical environment. You'd be looking at the play areas. You might be redesigning an actual curriculum area or center. One of those assignments would fit your physical environment. And finally, leadership and management. This is where you look at the policies that the preschool has, the systems that support staff, personnel, the financial, the budget, program management, all of those that basically ensure that the child has a really rich, rewarding experience at the preschool. Now, once you've uploaded all 10 of your assignments onto TaskStream, you've written the 10 rationale, you've written the 10 reflections, you will be responsible for an 8 to 10 page paper summing it all up. What do you think quality in terms of early childhood means to you? Having finished all of this, having uploaded all of your attachments, you're responsible for an 8 to 10 page paper where you talk about your personal philosophy and as it aligns with your assignments that you have done. You actually reflect on this whole process that you have gone through, and you're going to highlight to me what you think are the important indicators of quality in a preschool program. Remember, all of your assignments have to be written using APA guidelines. You will cite your sources. You will make sure you have at least 2 outside sources. It's 12 font, double spaced. Go through your syllabus, make sure you follow all of the protocol because this is something that you're going to need to graduate.